So this is Kevin McConnin, my son, and we're going to talk to you about how he's gone from a golfer that shot 10 over for 9 holes on an executive course. So he was probably shooting about 100 for 9 holes in October of 2022. And a few months ago, he shot 5 under to win his California Palomar League, or Poway High School League champion, shooting 5 under at Twin Oaks. Now in this channel, we're gonna document his progression, and we're gonna start here today with his origin story and the philosophy that with how he approached the game. So Kevin, what sort of pressure were Mom and I putting on you to pick a sport and do something back in October-ish 2022, or maybe it was even starting in the summer? And then what did you decide, and what did you do from there?
Well, starting in 2020, I just quit baseball, and I had done nothing because it was COVID. So I knew I had to decide between a sport, because my dad said you have to choose a sport to play or get a job and work full time. So I was like, I might as well play a sport. So my decision was either going to be wrestling or golf, because both my brothers play varsity golf, and it sounded fun. So I chose golf. I started playing. I started at Oaks North, which is a little municipal course, R3 course, like right by me, 10 minutes away. And my first time playing, I think I shot 9 or 10 over through 9 with my brother, and he was giving me help and tips, so that was nice, but my swing was still terrible. And then I started working hard, playing every day, practicing every day, recording my swing every day, I chose multiple people to copy: Tiger Woods, Adam Scott, and
I want to focus on it a little bit more. You went up on YouTube. We decided that we needed, like, because every day you were coming back with different issues, different problems. I was trying to help you. I've played a lot of sports, but I'm not exactly a golf pro. But you decided that you wanted to model a swing so you could get really good at it, and then we can make changes from there. So who were some of the guys' swings you were looking at, and why'd you pick them?
My first player I tried to copy was Roy McIlroy, just because I've always liked to swing. He was Irish, same height as me, and I just thought he was the best dude on tour currently, like at the moment. But then slowly I realized his swing is not my favorite to replicate, so I chose Tiger Woods soon after, like 2 weeks later.
Which version of Tiger Woods swing?
2005 video from Tiger Woods. Just him on the range in 2005. He was still pretty young and very flexible.
And just at least, what do people joke about? What about Tiger Woods' 2005 swing and major champions? What's sort of interesting about the swing?
Well, I mean, it had just won major championships. I mean, and it was just when he was at his prime, he was known for being the best iron player.
I was trying to get at the fact, and it's been said 4 or 5 other pros copied that swing by working with Bruce Harmon and other pros, Butch Harmon, and other pros have won major championships with it too. So an absence of having another reason to pick a good swing to model, that was probably the swing, right? Now, tell us about, do you remember the progressions? Like, I remember one of the first things we were working on distinctly was shaft lean. And do you remember why and what you tried to do with respect to shaft lean? And then how did you go about solving the problem?
I mean, so it was the most obvious thing I was missing, because I was meeting it like here, like back here almost. I was flicking at it.
Well, let me back out so people can see that.
I was meeting the ball probably like I was just coming up and flicking at it right here, versus all the pros were down in here. So obviously, just starting to play golf, I misunderstood what they were doing, and I just tried to get this feeling and feel like this, and I did it all wrong. It took me quite a while to figure out what the pros were actually doing, and I mean, we'll talk more about that later. It's a long explanation.
Right. Well, okay, so just in case people want to jump to it right now, what were some of the channels you found instructive with respect to helping you get to shaft lean? Do you remember?
Yeah, for sure. More recently, it's been better explained. Like, even when I started just 6 months ago, there weren't as many videos about it, but ever since, like, people like Bryson have made it more popular to talk about how to copy a professional swing and what to do to get proper shaft lean instead of incorrect shaft lean. Just more people trying to teach it because of TikTok.
Right. Now, I remember myself looking at it, trying to tell you to look at it, that J.C. Chow in golf, did he have useful stuff for you?
Yes, J.C. Chown was one of our first people that I tried to copy his drills and teachings and stuff, but I mean, it was for the most part, it took a long time. I went down a rabbit hole of just trying different drills that really didn't work, and it was always never simple. It was always, because I mean, everyone wants to make money, so they try to
Okay.
put as many drills out as possible.
So now, let's talk about why. Okay, I think for you to get to 500 and be consistently under par, even on tough courses now, it's quite an achievement for you to have done it in about 20 months. I think one of your advantages was you already understood somewhat of the synchronization because of baseball. I know my brother who teaches golf in Texas and fits people down there says that baseball players have a little bit of an advantage with respect to golf because they understand some sync, they understand lag, they understand hand movements. So I think you came into that, you had some advantages there, but I wanted to ask you, what is it about synchronization of golf moves that's similar to baseball? And what I've told you, hey, this is remarkably similar to tennis, remarkably similar to football, remarkably similar to golf. And I'm not even sure I discussed it with you, but to me, as a leading question here, I'd say I got turned on to this entire concept that all these sports have the same movement because of Harvey Penick's magic move. I don't know how to say his last name, but in his book, he talked about the magic move. And to me, I was like, that's remarkably similar to what happens with an elbow in tennis. And this is back the 1980s, 90s swings that the Swedes were using. It's a little different now. Now it's more like flat to flat to flat, and they hold it like a dead fish. But the Swedes' forehand swing was remarkably similar to what Harvey Penick was saying. What do you know about that, and could you demonstrate it?
Well, when we originally started, my dad knew because he played tennis his whole life. He knew there was a move that I was missing, just clearly from video, that I also didn't have while I played baseball. Part of the reason I started not being as strong as a hitter, as of a hitter, was because I was missing this move totally. So I obviously didn't bring it into golf, but what all the professional baseball players and all the professional golfers do similar is their hips at impact are open.
I'm going to flip the camera over. I hope this doesn't annoy people. But
It's upside down.
yeah, oh, it's upside down. Well, no, it looks right to me now. All right, I better go back here and I'll back out. Okay, so show me the move again.
So what I was doing was I was keeping my hips closed and I was just jumping at it, which most amateurs struggle with in golf, is just this jump, versus what all the pros do in every single sport. You'll see their hips, in almost every single sport, you'll see their hips open to whatever they're doing. So if they're throwing, their hips open, they get here. If they're hitting, their hips open, they get here. Tennis, hips open, here. And then golf, especially like the young players who are still flexible, you'll see it, I mean, insane, like Gordon Sargent and Akshay. I mean, it's crazy how open they are at impact. And this is where the shaft lean comes from. It's not from being here and then forcing the shaft lean. The shaft lean comes from here and then turning through it. And that's what I was missing for a long time. And you'll see their legs, their right knee is especially easy to see. Like in some of my bad swings, I still have the problem. I'm not perfect, but my bad swings, my knee will come up instead of my good swings where my knee goes down and through and I finish late.
Okay, and now the evolution I thought was brilliant. You explained it to me earlier, was that you're not so sure that if you want to go 0-0, you mentioned something to me about, well, why don't you tell me what you told me this morning about the 0-0, Scotty's swing, and how you don't if you want to go 0-0, you bring that hip through it a little less or something.
There's a perfect mix between what I'm calling this is an early extension of coming up and what you could say more of a rotation-based swing from here versus more of a lateral, linear swing where you're going up and through. And I find a good mix to be at first my leg comes up, and then if I need power, this comes up a little. And you'll see that especially like I'd say a quarter, maybe a little bit more of a pros. So like a third of the pros do that versus 2/3 of the pros just fully get to open.
Right.
And I find that when I do have the swing where I come up, have a little less shaft lean than I would if I stayed down.
Right.
It's easier to hit that 0-0 like Scotty, which makes him so great is that he can just hit that straight ball, 0 club path, 0 club face, which we should probably expand. But
now
this helps me time this up. But it's a much more timing based swing. Instead of just repeating the same movement every time, I have to time this up every time.
All right, so one more question about philosophy. We're going to go much more into depth in the future on the channel with questions and swings. But one other philosophy for someone starting as a kid who wanted to get really good as they could get, as quickly as they could get. I have a question for you about equipment. what would your belief be with respect to game improvement clubs or forged irons? And tell us why. Well, why do you think it would matter?
I mean, this is purely because of my dad, but
I wasn't looking for the compliment because I'm not even sure that I'm right. I just want to know our philosophy on it.
I can tell you it helps a lot. Like, if I had starting with these irons, which are almost blades, they're just a little bit thicker than actual blades. I always had to hit the center of the face even from starting. So even with a not as good.
Those are used. We bought those used on eBay, 4 or 5 sets of used forged irons from probably 20 years ago. Mizuno's from 20 years ago.
Yeah,
and why would we do that over all these game improvement clubs?
Because it forces you to have to hit the center of the face. So I'm not.
And when you do hit the center of the face, what happens?
It feels good. I mean.
Well, yeah, you get rewarded, but it's workability. Like I hear you telling me things about if I want to hit it low to roll it out or hit it high. Like you have that feeling. You've gotten those sensations and those feedback in your hand because of those clubs.
Yeah.
If you're using game improvement clubs, you might have scored quicker, sooner. But I don't know that you'd have that understanding and the ability to work the ball.
Also much more consistent. I mean, I'll get a much similar number every time, whereas with the game improvement.
Speaking of that, how do you know you get a similar number every time? What piece of equipment did you buy?
One of the most important purchases in the last few months that improved my game from being a scratch golfer to plus handicap.
Minus handicap. Plus handicap. Okay, sorry. You know more about golf than I do.
Plus handicap and starting to shoot below par every time was getting a launch monitor, getting my distances every single time, my launch angle, how many yards in the air it would come down on, the face and path ratio, which I was just talking about with Scotty, choosing if I want to try to produce the same path every time or have different shots based on what I need. And the launch monitor, it is expensive, but it's a worth purchase if you're really trying to improve your golf game.
Okay, now, I've already got videos up on the channel. I put those up before we even put this. Are you warmed up enough to even hit a stroke or two? Just give you an idea of what's working for you under golf, that's getting you under par almost all the time, even on tough courses right now. I'm going to back out. Should we do down the line or do you want to do face on?
You can get face on, just go
all right,
there.
so I'm going to have to back up. I got to walk up these steps here. Sorry. All right, so now let me zoom in a little more if I can. So you can see we put up, wait, I'm a little too zoomed in. I can't see because it's sunny. It's very hard for me to see the screen. All right, go ahead. So, 20 months ago, you can see his beginner swing, well, not total beginner, but novice swing versus what he's got now. All right, and you want to do one more?
Sure.
All right, thanks, Kev. We're going to go. Kevin's going to track his whole journey. He's hoping to take this through college and maybe beyond. And he's a little behind the 8 ball with respect to colleges. He's in colleges.
Starting a year and a half
But he hasn't.
ago.
Well, tell us about, you haven't even talked to any college coaches yet, have you? Because you were just a new golfer and you weren't really on their radar, even though you shot 500 to win a tournament in high school, right?
I mean, starting a year and a half ago, I didn't really expect much. I wanted to, but obviously you just can't get coaches' attention that fast, and especially since I only got good enough that I could even think about playing in college like 6 months ago. So it was tough.
Okay, so we're going to talk about, plus we got some other things we left behind, like some equipment switches, some fittings, why a fitting for a driver brought 40 yards. We got lots of things, and we're going to talk more about the philosophy. I think the philosophy of golf, what you got to settle on, made a huge, when Kevin committed to the modeling and his philosophies, huge strides. So we're going to talk about those things in future videos, analyze the swing, and follow his journey. I mean, hopefully he can take this much lower, right, Kev?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry I interjected too much there, but I thought we should wrap it up. All right, thanks for watching. And what's the name of our channel? Do you even know?
I'm Kevin McConnin with Pure Golf.
All right, Pure Golf with Kevin McConnin. Thanks. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye.